Hey, hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to Talk with the Missus. Yes, the Missus is right here,
Yes.
and I'm here. We are super excited
Yeah.
about this evening. We believe and know that it's going to be a really blessing. So, we want to welcome all of you for joining us in today's broadcast. I'm going to urge you to please get friends, family, and loved ones to join in with us as we believe God for a really refreshing time on today's broadcast. Talk with the Missus is always life changing, always life transforming, and a platform that actually God has used to help many people. I believe that many more will be helped today.
Amen.
And you can be an extension of God's hand in extending this help to somebody. So, what would we like you to do in order for you to be a partaker to receive of the blessing, but also to be able to extend the blessing to someone else? We would love for you to be able to share the broadcast to your page. Today, we are broadcasting on YouTube. We are also on Facebook. We are on Telegram, actually, for the first time today. We are going live on Telegram. So we're just trying that out as part of our broadcast today. So hopefully it's working fine. And those who want to connect through Telegram would be able to connect. I promise you that this will be a really life-changing, transformative broadcast for you. We'd like to know those who are already joining with us as we do here on the Talk with the Missus platform. So can you just, put in the comment section your name and where you are joining us from. I am also going to join in the act of sharing the broadcast to make sure that I am also an extension of the blessing of today's broadcast to somebody. So we're looking to welcome all those who are with us online, and we want to encourage you to please share, and then please let us know. Let us know you are online. Send us your name and where you are joining from. If it is your first time or watching this broadcast of Talk with the Missus, we'd like you to also indicate there. We know there are some regulars who are always here, and we do appreciate all of them. And we also want to give a shout out to those who are probably, this is the first time you are being part of this broadcast. So we wait to hear from you in the comment section. I'll let the Missus, give it a shout out before we begin the conversation today.
Okay, well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Thank you for tuning in to Talk with the Missus. It's always a wonderful time and a pleasure to be here to serve the Lord in this ministry of marriage and different areas that we discuss on this topic. I'm so blessed with the topic that we have in line for today, because I know it will be a great blessing to so many people. And guess what? Because it's going to be a blessing to people, we need you to also be sharing. Let somebody come in, because like we always say, you don't know whose question you're going to answer through sharing the link. They will just come in and they'll be like, oh, this is exactly what I've been thinking about. This is exactly what I need. And then they'll be able to have the answer to their question that they've been longing for. So be a sharer, be a partaker, comment, let us know where you're tuning in from. God bless you. I see Christiana joining from Bushy. God bless you. Ifoma joining from Essex, UK. God bless you. And everyone that will tune in afterwards, God bless you. And thank you for tuning in. We know that today is going to be a great blessing for us all.
Great. Amen. All right. So today's topic is an interesting one. And I want to quickly just introduce it, and then we will get on the discussion. We'd like you to be, a serious participant, one who is deeply involved in the conversation that we'll be having today. We want to discuss on the subject, when couples are not on the same page. When couples are not on the same page.
Yeah.
I think that is a very, very crucial topic. And I think the conversation that we're going to have around it will be helpful for so many.
Yes.
And we would want you to participate in it. Whilst we're on that, I'd like to welcome Pastor Austin Osoria. He said, good evening to my bishop and his amiable wife.
Oh, God
always
bless
a
you.
privilege listening to you both.
God bless you,
yes,
sir.
I know he's joining from Abuja, Nigeria.
Amazing.
So it's good to have you with us.
Yeah.
All right. So I think it goes without saying that you find that there are times where, for some couples, they're never on the same page.
Wow.
And then there are others that have the occasional situations when they are not on the same page. The Bible speaks of, that the two shall become one. And I think that when we speak of that oneness, it is oneness in purpose, and I think that that's where it begins from. Oneness in purpose. If a couple come together and they don't have oneness of purpose, it is difficult to have oneness in any other thing. Oneness in purpose. But it goes without saying that you end up, some couples end up in situations where they're both not on the same page. So maybe where we should start from today is to look at what are the dangers of couples not being on the same page? And then we can build ourselves from there.
Okay. I think even before it was a wonderful topic.
Yeah.
Firstly, it's a very, very, very important topic. I think before I even go into the dangers of not being on the same page, permit me, if you will, to talk on the reason to be on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Firstly, it's a foundation issue. When you talk of we're not on the same page, my husband is different or my wife they're not on the same page, the issue then is one of foundation. That the foundation has not been well put together. There are too many puzzle pieces that are in different areas, scattered a little bit, just not deciding to come together. It's like your life in a marriage is a little bit like a jigsaw. Sorry, I'm an analogy kind of person.
No, that's fine.
That's how I communicate. Yeah. So it's like you're in a picture puzzle and they're different pieces. But when you are not on the same page, your missing piece refuses to come to the picture, to join the picture. Or it decides that it wants to grow too big for the picture, or it wants to shrink, or it wants to disappear. All the different things that is now making the shape of that puzzle piece different is not now fitting in.
Yeah.
Then you talked of, the Bible says that the two shall become one.
Yeah.
There's that word become. For me, as soon as you said that word, I said, become. It's a process.
Yeah.
You are changing from the two. You come individually.
Yeah.
This process, as you're going like this, is the become. And then you now turned into one. Yeah. So the process of coming together is the becoming. And it's in that becoming that you now realize, oh, there's one area of me that does not fit the oneness. Let me drop it. There's one area of you that does not fit the oneness. You should drop it. And then because you are both desiring the oneness and understanding that for us to progress and become something valuable, both to ourselves, both to our children that we will get at some point by the grace of God, and to society in large, before we now even talk of the kingdom of God, there are some things in us that we now realize that where we're going to is too important for us to now refuse to become. So for me, is the foundation of becoming, somebody has refused to start that process.
Yeah.
So somebody has refused to say, okay, this is an excess, I need to drop it. Or, okay, this is an area that I need to build on. I'm not quite there yet. And it's needed for the becoming so that we can actually become something reasonable. So for me, the issue is the foundation where one, maybe it's not realized fully the need for the process. You know, sometimes or most times now, everybody is like, just take me as I am. Just take me as I am. You knew who you were, who I was when you met me. Take me as I am. Nobody's willing to bend. Nobody is willing to adjust and move in a certain way that would align them to get the best part of them. Not everybody is perfect. In fact, we're not actually perfect. We're all on a process of work. We're all work in progress. So if you then know that, you will then have both a leniency for your spouse, knowing that, okay, they're a work in progress, and leniency also for yourself, and not believing that, you know, he should just take me as I am, or she should just take me as I am. You will now realize, okay, this is, I've gone too far today, or I need to work on this today, or whatever, to now get yourself in line to be able to become one. So for me, I just think that as much as it's important to talk about the dangers, and definitely we will talk about that, let's not now underestimate the reason behind the problem. The reason behind the problem that you're not working together is that you are too fixed on who you are, and not realizing that that in a union or a marriage, you're becoming. And that process of becoming takes effort. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes an intentional desire to move and change some things so that you can then blend and become that one.
Yeah, I think well said. I think one of the things that, you know, I picked from whilst you were speaking is the fact that you said, you know, the unwillingness to drop parts of you that you came into the marriage with, because for you to be able to fuse together, there are things that you need to drop. Invariably, it implies that if you're married, or if you're going into marriage, or you're a married person, and you are not flexible, you're not willing to drop parts of you that it was fitting for your singlehood, but not fitting for your marriage. Do you understand? I think you have to be able to understand that there are characters, there are habits, they're not necessarily bad, that were fitting for your days or years of singlehood, but they may not actually be fitting for your years of marriage. And if you insist on those and get stuck on those, and you bury yourself in those, then you will not actually be able to form the oneness that is required of you and your spouse. And then once you don't have that situation where you are both, you know, on the same page, then you create a room for the enemy to come in, and all kinds of problem can spring up. So maybe before we go into the danger of that, because we've kind of started from a different, I was going to start from there, but I think it's a good thing you start from where. So what are some of the things that can cause couples not to be on the same page? I would say, okay, if we're listing them, you've said one, the unwillingness to drop certain parts of you, that worked for you as a single person, but may not necessarily work for you, you know, as a married person. I would probably want to add to that to say number two would be traditions. Traditions.
Married to tradition.
And I think traditions, you know, sometimes hinder people from being on the same page. And whether we know it or not, we are all, I wouldn't say products, but we are all raised within the confinement of one tradition or the other.
A culture, at least.
Yeah, one cultural tradition or the other. So you have a situation where, let's say a young man is raised.
Yeah.
And he's raised in a home where the mother, serves the father.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I say serves the father, food. Yeah. So not like washing.
It's not now like in a in an apron and
no. I don't mean like washing.
You ring the bell. You called, like nah, it's not that.
Yeah. But serves the father in that, okay, maybe the father comes in, she prepares the food, she sets the table, she serves the food on the table, invites the husband, and he is, by the time he finished eating, he stands up, washes his hand there, leaves, and then she comes and clears the table.
Yeah.
That's the tradition
Yeah.
that he grew up in.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, that tradition.
If that's what he's used to.
If it works
for the mother and
for the mother and the father.
Yeah.
So invariably that becomes his expectation when he gets married. And you can't blame him for expecting that, because that is what he grew up seeing. It's like, there are people who eat, what do you call it now? Let's say they eat lasagna. Yeah. And they enjoy it so much. If they stay a week or two and they haven't eaten lasagna, their body system feels somehow because they were raised with it.
Yeah.
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 Someone else may eat jollof rice. And that's what he was raised with.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with eating the lasagna. There's nothing wrong with eating the jollof rice. Do you understand? So we are all products of the traditions or the culture that we're raised with. Yeah. Now you have, especially in this time and age where people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different traditions come together in marriage. So both of them are coming, and you have to be able to fuse the two together. Now, I've used the word traditions, but I'm not, it's not so much the general traditions, it is the character traditions. So if I go by this young man who was raised, the mother serving, and the lady is married and she was raised in a home where the mother cooks and then everybody goes to the pot, the father goes, serves himself, eat, and then goes and washes his plate in the sink. Do you understand? These two are coming together. They're coming from different backgrounds. There would be a clash of expectations. Yeah. If you then take it from there to say, okay, they can talk through that and all of that. Take it now to actually the issues of being on the same page. The way maybe one grew up in a home where children are given freedom, quote unquote, what you may call freedom, or to do whatever they like. They can go out whenever they like. They can, bring friends. They can sleep over. They can just call their dad and say, oh, I'm not coming home today. And the other one was raised in a street home. Yeah. So now they're both married and then they're having their children. And one child is saying, I'm going for a party. And this one say, what do you mean going for a party? No. You're not leaving this house for a party. And then the other one is, oh, let them go, let them have fun. It's their time and all of that. The two of them are not on the same page.
No. And then the child will know this.
Yeah.
And know how to play the parents against each other to get what they want.
Yeah.
Because they will know that, oh, if I want to go out, let me go and speak to daddy.
Yeah. If
I want money for a new trainer so that I'm looking trendy, let me go and speak to mommy.
Yeah.
They will now know who to play
that game with. Yeah. And then the two of them are not in sync.
Yeah.
And these things happen where you have some families where the let's say the mother or the father does not care that the daughter is coming home at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And then the other one is like, how can a young girl go out and you are coming back at 1 a.m. even at 10 p.m. you shouldn't be outside.
Yeah.
And then this one is saying, oh, leave them. It's their time. you know,
let them go and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, let them go and enjoy themselves. Exactly. Let them go and enjoy themselves. What would they be doing with you at home? Just sitting here, they're bored while their friends are out and all of that. Let them go and enjoy themselves. You spot those differences, it can become a major problem.
Yeah.
And straight away, the two are not on the same page. So the issue of being on the same page is not an easy issue, because the background, the way people are raised, the expectations are crucial. And that is why I think when people want to get married, it is important that they try to understand the mindset of each other as it relates to certain things, especially things that will affect their future, affect their child upbringing. I mean, we can even take it to issue of money as well. You can have a couple that are not on the same page when it comes to money, because one just wants us to, let's go on holidays, let's buy flashy things and spend, you buy designers and all of that.
Money
and then
is for spending.
Yeah. But the other one, may have a mindset. It's not like he doesn't want spending.
Yeah.
But he feels, we can't just be splashing on holiday, splashing on cars or handbags and all of that. We need to, spend money wisely to secure our future. We need to put it on investment, on property, on this and on that. Now, the two of them are not on the same page, and that can create, a problem. I think let's read some of the comments.
Okay.
We've got a lot. Okay, let's start from here.
Okay.
Former said, it is difficult to become one where there is no agreeable standard to work with. And I think it's true. That's why conversations, should it be conversations before the marriage, or conversations in the early stages of the marriage, or conversations as issues arrive or arise, to be able to agree on, workable standards or standards to work with?
Yeah, I think ideally, if the conversation is before marriage, because then everybody is able to navigate their mindset and pivot with the other person in mind, because it's like a very lovey-dovey, everybody's happy kind of stage.
Yeah.
But even at that, even if you've been married for 20 years and so forth, I always still think that there's a way that you would speak to somebody, that a reasonable somebody, but there's a way that you speak to somebody that they should be able to accommodate. They should be able to listen. They should be able to see reason. Let's reason together. If God, Almighty God, says, come, bring your strong reasons, let's reason together. Me with my minute brain, God that created the whole universe wants to reason with me, then there's nobody that should be too big to feel that this conversation is over. I cannot speak with you on this. I'm too big for this. No, everybody should be able to speak with each other to come to a conclusion on whatever the concern or reasoning or mindset issue is. So I think that in terms of, yes, it is difficult to become one when there's no agreeable standard to work with, but then, okay, we've identified there's no agreeable standard to work with. Let's try and get an agreeable standard.
Yeah, let's set
an agreeable standard. It may not be 100% everything I want.
Yeah.
It may not be 100% everything you want.
Yeah.
But it's something that we've agreed to
work with.
I think somebody mentioned something about companies when they merge. It's easier for companies to merge together than for some.
Think we're better for us to read that.
Okay. Fene says sometimes it's more easier for two companies to merge and become one than a man and a woman becoming one. So many marriages don't become one before divorce.
Yeah.
So the issue is that they just did not end up merging. That's just it. They didn't end up merging. That becoming one is merging. So they didn't end up merging before they now got divorced. And I realized that I'm too stuck in my business, in my company, in my life to merge with you. And I don't want it. So let's separate and continue enjoying ourselves. So this desire for self gratification or self promotion is the issue that is stopping a lot of people even from getting married in the first place, and then from enjoying their marriage when they are in the marriage. Marriage is two people coming together, it's the becoming. So if you're not merging, it would always be difficult. So you have to find a way to merge together so that you can be able to, flourish.
Okay, so we're looking at the reasons why couples are not on the same page. So one, we've said that when there's an unwillingness to drop certain things that work in single. Two, we've said traditions. Three, we've said based on the comment that when there are no agreeable standards to work with. Four, I would say four would be pride. I think pride sometimes hinder couples from being on the same page, because I think that sometimes some people know that they are wrong, but their pride will not allow them to drop their
ego
point. No, not just their ego. The pride is part of the ego. To drop their point or drop their view, they would
to say, I was wrong, you were right. That's it.
So it's a dangerous thing where you have a situation where somebody is full of pride. And when you're full of pride, I'm almost thinking here that between pride and tradition, which one is more dangerous to a couple coming into agreement? I don't even know whether it's the pride or it's the tradition. So, pride can hinder a couple from being on the same page. Pride. And I think that anybody who wants to truly run a successful relationship, not just marriage, relationship with a husband, with a wife, relationship with a potential husband, wife, somebody you're dating, a fiance, even relationship in friendship. You must be willing to drop pride. Because when you are full of pride, it's difficult to come into agreement with people and be on the same page. Unless people agree with your viewpoint, it will not work.
It's my way or no way.
Yes. Exactly. So it's either my way or no way. So I like to pose the question to you. Tradition, for those of you who are watching, what do you think? Tradition and pride, which of those two
is
the biggest hindrance to couples being on the same page? Which of those two will be the greatest hindrance? I think let's read some more comments. So we got here. All right, so that's the conclusion. Say good evening. I want to read comments that okay, so we've got Fene who has said, don't expect to see all the good characters you saw in your parents, in your spouse when you get married. That's true. But I think sometimes also what you may call good character in your parents, which you are expecting in your spouse as a good character, may not actually be what she was raised with. And so the fact that she does not display that, does not mean that she lacks good character.
Or she lacks the ability.
Or she lacks the ability.
For whatever you've classified as a good character.
Exactly. Because I think that
it's exposure.
It is easier to relate with people and connect with people when you first try to understand where they are coming from. Their background, what has formed them. What has formed them, because somebody could, like we're in this studio now, somebody could just bash through the door and someone will be calm and another person will be like, oh,
I'm ready.
The two reactions.
Sorry, do you know what you're reminding me of?
No.
You see me, I'm not big. I'm not like a heavy person like that. So say one time we newly moved into our house. Sorry to digress. Remember your point.
I
Yeah?
hope so. I hope I remember it. But go
You
ahead.
said somebody will barge in.
Yes.
Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
So, on like all this Ring, I have Ring on my phone, and Ring will tell me if somebody's around the front door. So it's now telling me there's somebody at my front door, but the person's not ringing the bell. I was thinking, what kind of thing is this? So I now went to the Ring itself to now see who it is. I saw two hefty guys in front of the house talking, and I was thinking, who are these? So I don't know. You tell me. What most people would do is go and check who it is, maybe peek through or look on the Ring or call somebody. Can you come or anything like that? Nope, not me. I ran down the stairs as I saw the two. I said, "Who are these guys?" So I now ran down the stairs and I went and opened the door. Who is? Oh, and I saw it was my builder, and he brought somebody that's going to finish some work. I said, oh, sorry. I didn't know who was at the door, so I was ready to come and see who it is so that I can approach you and say, what are you doing here? So and these are hefty men. So you're just reminding me. So I'm just thinking, if somebody was to come through the door, I'd be like, what were you doing? That's how I was brought up.
Yeah. So,
I don't know what you'd be like then. Observing.
Yeah, I would probably be observing. I'll be calm, observing, like,
ready.
Yeah, so I'm saying, is the same action, but two different reactions.
Yeah.
So I think when you try to understand where someone is coming from, it does not mean that they should remain that way. Yeah. One, what I will teach you is how to relate with them. Two, would then be, what needs to change in them. And you would know that it cannot change overnight, because for them to truly blend to you and for the two of you to be on the same page as it relates to things, there will be a process. Yeah. So I think that it is possible for couples to be on the same page, but they have to be willing to give themselves allowance. And like, Fene said, you cannot expect to see in your wife or in your husband everything that you saw in your parents, just like there will be things in them that were not also in your parents. Yeah,
definitely.
Okay. All right, before I read further comments, I just want to see what people thought about where I said is it pride or tradition. Okay.
Yeah.
So Ifoma said pride is worse. Lola said it is more of pride. Okay.
Yeah. Nanette said, I believe it's pride. It's Pride Month. Yeah.
So a lot of people think that pride is worse. So pride, therefore, is a bigger, based on our discussion here, pride is a bigger hindrance to couples being on the same page. Yeah. And I think even Dion Morgan went further and said pride, he said, can block growth and healing in a relationship because it can cause someone to refuse to admit they are wrong, avoid apologizing, ignore their partner's feeling, be unwilling to compromise. And once you're unwilling to compromise, then obviously you are both not going to be on the same page.
You're on loggerheads,
Yeah, you're not going to be on the same page.
Nobody wants to back down. Or you're going to make that person apologize for what you should have been apologizing for. That's even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to read this comment?
Yeah, okay. So Gloria there, she says, that is why it's important for couples to talk about the things and have an understanding before coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then Dion then says, poor communication. Sometimes partners assume the other person understands them without actually talking about it. When communication is not clear, misunderstandings happen. In fact, they're inevitable.
Yeah. And then she said, poor communication brings pride.
Yeah.
Glory, they said, I would say pride is bigger hindrance. Jackie said, for me, it's pride, but also sincere humility and loyalty can also be mistaken as foolishness.
Yeah.
Okay. Then said, tradition can also create challenges, but it is not always negative. Culture, family expectations limit flexibility in the relationship. Yeah. And it appears that people are probably more open to shift in their traditions, as opposed to if they are coated with pride. Then to move becomes impossible, because this is the way it is. This is how it has to be.
I think tradition can always be rebirthed and changed, if you like. Somebody, you can have, I think the last Talk with the Missus that we had, one of the last comments, if not the very last comment, was asking about culture. What do you do when you're husband and wife and you come from two different cultures, and one person doesn't want to understand where the other person is coming from based on culture? Now, that's really an issue of tradition, what you're used to, what you've grown up with, and so forth. But you can always create a new culture. You have to be intentional. You have to, bite your tongue when you are about to say or do something that is now against the new culture that you want to create, but it's still very possible. But pride, I think, comes from a deeper sense of self and self-seeking and selfishness, that you do, and self-importance, that you don't want to look a certain way to somebody because of your self-importance that you've put on yourself, and you're unwilling to change. You can see it, that this is not going to work. You can see that it's going to mess things up. You can see that it will be a big hindrance, but because you don't want to be seen as the person that bowed, you now don't do it. And you don't care how it will now affect everything and everyone. In fact, the whole system can break down. You don't care, because for you, it should not come from you. It should come from the other person. So that's an intentional desire to just allow everything to fall apart in your hands. It really doesn't make sense. But for the person that is full of pride, it does make sense, because for them to save their own image is more important than to bow in their eyes to say, I was wrong. It's not even a saying of I was wrong. It's a compromise.
It's a compromise.
It's you're bending, you're
to be able to accommodate, and then so that the two of you can run. And I think also it's very important for couples to know that, because I'm looking at time, I want to pivot to some of the dangers of not being on the same page. I think that it's important to note that you limit your growth as a couple and as a family when you are both not on the same page. When a husband and wife are not on the same page, their growth is limited. The Bible says that one will chase 1,000, two will chase 10,000. Just think of that arithmetic. Yes, you would have thought if one would chase 1,000, two would chase 10,000. 2,000. Well, sorry, we chase 2,000. But the Bible says we chase 10,000, and it is actually true. It is actually true. When you have a couple who are working together, for example, you can have one couple. Let me use property. You have one couple and they want to buy property. Their salary, their income is not enough for them to be able to, let's say they want to get a mortgage, to get a property. And if they wait, to be able to raise their finances to the level where they can get it, they may wait for 10 years to be able to get, and in all of those 10 years, the prices keep going up. If the couple comes together, in the first year, the two of them can step into the property market. In that 10 years period, if they are wise and really they want to do property investment, in 10 years time, they may have grown their property portfolio from 1 to 5 or 10. Do you understand? If they understand the property market. Whereas the one who was alone is still struggling to be able to buy one. So when the scripture says one will chase 1,000 and two will chase 10,000, couples grow faster when they are both on the same page. But when they are not, to be honest with you, they are both hindered. They are both held back. And that is a big danger.
Yeah.
Is a big danger. I would put number 2, and then I'll let you pick up. Number 2, children, do not actually become the best that they should be when couples are not on the same page. When we say couples being on they could be in the same house. The father is there, the mother is there. These children are being raised by parents who are living together, but they're not doing things together. When the children go and speak to daddy, what they're hearing about the instructions or a matter is different from what they're hearing from mommy. And they can see, and some parents, are not even diplomatic about it. Some parents are not diplomatic about it. Let's say all the children wants to go somewhere and daddy have said no. Yeah. And mommy thinks they should go. Diplomatic parents who want to operate on the same page pull daddy aside and quietly say, honey, I think maybe you should let them go and all of that. Yeah. But in some families, right there, in the open before the children, the mother will say, oh, but why don't you want them to go?
Even strangers.
Yeah. Let the children go now, please. You guys go and wear your clothes and go. You can't just be stopping the children from going out like that. Right there in the midst of that conversation, it tells the children that these two parents are not on the same page. And then the children will grow up with certain characters that will actually hold them back, hinder them, because the two people who are supposed to be the pilot of the boat, of the captain of the boat that they are in, are not on the same page. And that is dangerous. And I've seen families where children have, some of them, the children have gone and become really bad. Some, the children are not like they are really bad, but they can't really, they're good children, good, maybe adults, but can't really achieve anything in their life, So, after all, my children are not in prison. After all, my children are not prostitutes. After all, my children don't smoke this. Yes, they're good children, but because of those, not standing for the same thing, their achievements in life and progress and strategic approach to life is hindered.
Yeah. Maybe because, again, they don't, the strategic analysis, critical analysis, when you're approached with something, how to accommodate other people's opinions and all of that, just living life in a wider society, it may be hindered because they'll always want their own way, and their character is kind of formed in a way that is not helpful. As well as another way that is a problem for people that are not on the same page is your life in the marriage, your life in the home is now one of endurance instead of joy. You now see yourself that I'm here again. You're finding ways to go out. You're finding things to do to enjoy yourself. You're doing weekends away and girls trip and boys trip and going out and all the different things, just to anything to get away from this person.
Yeah, there are some people they always go on guest trip.
Yeah.
But they never gone on holiday with their husband or their wife. Is that a good thing?
Well,
I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah. When you have a married woman who is she's always going on guest trip. Yeah. But never going away with the husband on a holiday. Or you have a married man who is always going away on boys trip. Because I know some men who do that. Always going away on boys trip, but never going away on a holiday with the wife
or rarely.
Or rarely.
More with the boys. Or
Yeah.
the girls.
Or rarely. What do we think? Do we think that that's a good thing?
Yeah, I think. Well, I'll wait for you to answer that question.
Yeah.
But in terms of the point that I was making, is that you'll now end up enduring your home, the home that you know. Some people dream of getting married, or they had seasons of intense prayer for this marriage. Then you now enter the marriage, and it's something that you are enduring. You don't want to endure your home. You're meant to enjoy your home. It's meant to be something that you feel so happy when the person comes home. I'm not saying you're skipping to the door to now greet them and sweep them off their feet. All this Hollywood, Nollywood, all these things that don't happen in real life.
But sometimes it can happen.
It can happen.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes it can happen. The person is coming, is at the door. You're happy. You're happy.
Yeah.
When you hear the bell or you hear the key, my lovely. You can just brighten because you don't know the mood in which they are coming back.
You don't know.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe let's give
it's not, but it's not. You don't expect it
all the time.
But
let's give this as a little task. This year, this year is special. So let's give it as a little task. Those of you that are married that are online, please do something unique, something that your spouse is not expecting when they come home. This week, and let us know in 2 weeks' time, or let me know in 2 weeks' time how this now went, because I think it's important to be spontaneous. Yeah. Nobody wants to have the monotonous.
It might look strange to them, but
what happened to you today?
But it's those strange things. Before you know, it will wake up things, because when it's the same routine, it becomes boring. So do something that just is out of the norm.
Do something for me. I know you would do. I will do for you too. But
are you campaigning for yourself?
Yes. Unashamedly, yes, I am. So I think it's important anyway to be spontaneous, to find reason to be joyful. I mean, imagine like when you were leading up to your marriage. Most of us did not go for were not introduced or married through an arranged marriage. You chose this person, so there must have been something that you saw in them that wanted you to spend the rest of your life with them. So let's make it enjoyable, but when you're not on the same page, because of the arguments that you're remembering, or because of the silly response that he gave to me or she gave to me, you're now becoming drifting. You're drifting apart. Emotionally, you're drifting. In all kind of areas, sexually drifting, because nobody wants to be a woman anyway. Nobody wants to be touched by that man that was, come on, leave me. I'm tired. You don't want to be touched by that person that was annoying you. I don't know, men, because they just want the thing. Maybe they don't mind if the woman is annoying you. Oh, yeah, come on. But I don't know. Maybe some men also, because actually, I know some men that are now like, look, I don't care what she carries in that her package. I don't care, because she needs to deal with that character in her before I now come anywhere near her. So actually, it goes both ways. But let's remove that drifting. Let's remove those issues. Let's remove that enduring nature and actually enjoy our marriage by coming together, becoming that one that the Lord has asked us to be.
All right. Just to read some comments to some of the point, I think when we're talking about the fact that when the couple are not on the same page, the children, Ifema said, we end up making them confused and allow for the word to teach them.
Exactly.
Which is true. Which is true.
The world, including friends, including social media, including,
because the children don't know what is right and what is wrong. This one is saying go to the east, the other one is saying go to the west. They're not speaking with the same voice. Lena Escape said, very much so, Pastor Moses. Okay, I think was when we're making that point about the children. And then we're talking about, I think the question I asked, when a married lady is always going on guest trip, or a married man is always going on boys trip, but the married man and the married woman, the couple, never go away together. But they always go away with other people, but never go away together. Whether is it right? Ifoma said that means there is no relationship between the two or any reason to be away. Together. There is a problem there, even though it is not said. It's possible. It's possible. Dion said, a married woman going on guest trip without her husband is not necessarily a bad thing. No, it's not a bad thing. In healthy marriages, spending time with friends can be normal and beneficial. But we're saying if they always, that's the only trip that they always make and never go away with their spouse, you know? So they always go away with friends, but never go away together. And going away with friends is not a bad thing. But when you never go away with your husband or your wife, then there's a problem. Dion said the key factors are trust, communication, and mutual respect between partners. As long as both spouses are comfortable with it and the relationship remains balanced, it can be a positive experience. It can be a positive experience to go away. Think about it. Let's say you're a woman now, as you're here. And I like the women also to answer. You have a husband who, let's say, maybe once or twice in a year or 3 times in a year, he always goes away with the boys. Boys trip. He's gone to Japan. He's gone to the Caribbean islands. He's gone to different places. But you'll be married for 5 years and he's never gone away on holidays with you. But he makes these trips with. How would you feel as a wife? And then if you are a husband, you have a wife who does the same, you know, and let's say 5 years, how would you feel? You know, so it's not that he cannot afford to go away with you, but he prefers only to go away with friends, and never wants to, let's say never, or doesn't go away with you. So all your dealings are within your
what if he says, oh, but you've got me all the time, so it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to understand the rationale or what he could potentially or she could potentially be saying. You've got me all the time. I don't always have time with my boys, or I don't always have time with my girls.
Okay, but why can't you have time with your boys and with your girls in the same city? Why do people always go away? And it is when it comes to going away with me that you've got me all the time comes in. Do you understand? Am I not good enough to travel to the Caribbean islands with you to St. Lucia or Bahamas, or to go to Dubai or wherever? We have to put in perspective, because I think sometimes those things are just excuses. You should have a balance where you go away with the boys, you go away with the girls, but there should also be times where you go away with your spouse. And sometimes change of environment for a husband and wife, going out of their normal routine environment and changing environment together is helpful. And if the change of environment, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years is only with your friends and never with your spouse, I think I will agree with Ifoma that there's something that is wrong that is unspoken about. Something that is not being spoken about that is wrong.
Something's going on in behind the scenes. And I think what Christiana says here, it says it may be they are trying to escape from the company of the other person. So they're seeing it as their escape time. Look, leave me. It's my me time. It's my me time. Me from where? You're trying to leave, So we have to realize that, when you are together as one, find ways to make it work. If you feel like you said, change of environment, sometimes it really helps. You don't have to go far.
Yeah.
You don't have to go like on a whole flight, go somewhere.
Yeah.
You can find somewhere within the same city.
Yeah. And book a weekend.
Just book a weekend and just or even a night. Just like have time together outside of the normal hustle and bustle, so that you can appreciate each other's company and, you know, talk about different things. I think as well, it takes discipline, self-control and discipline, that if there's a pressing matter, you don't use that opportunity that you are there to only talk about that. You can bring it up if the time and the situation allows, but that's not the reason you traveled. Yeah. So if you're now using that, we could have done this at home, you know, we could have got upset about this conversation at home. Why did we have to travel all this way just to talk about the same thing? So maybe again, it's for the spouse that doesn't want to go away. Maybe they're thinking it will be a confined space with this person that is going on the same thing again. So I think again, make sure that you bring your A game to make it enjoyable for the person.
Okay. Pastor Portia said, I think for peace, there needs to be a balance. If properly planned, holidays with friends once in a while brings change. Avoid misunderstanding and enjoy one another. I think you can have holidays going away with friends, but also it should be balanced up with going away with your spouse as well, because otherwise then but someone's asked a question. It's not a good thing. But what about if either partner are not the going out type or doesn't like associating? So you could have somebody who, so you just go, I don't really like going. If you want to go, you can go. So maybe it's not their thing. But then the other one is an extrovert that feels, we can't just be here the whole year and then we don't go out somewhere. So if you're not going, I'm going. What do you do?
Introverts, find a way to convert. And just for 1 week, can be how many days? Try and become extrovert. You have to be out with your.
I think I will agree with you, because it is, when you're married, one of the things that you must take on is the act of selflessness. If you only do things that you like, then you have not truly adjusted to marriage life. You have to be you have to understand what your spouse like, and be willing as a person to sometimes, come out of your shell. So you're an introvert, you're not the outgoing type and all of that. But in certain occasions, you should be willing to go out, and there's something for you to learn. You should not just be there, say, that the king does not leave his palace. The rest of you can go. If all of us go, who will be at home looking after the whole place? Someone has to be here. You people go and enjoy yourself and come back. No, sometimes everybody has to go together. All right. I think we need to read a few more comments before we wrap up.
Okay.
Do you want to read this one?
Yeah. So for me, it's not healthy if he or she does that with his or his friends. Why not the spouse? Definitely something is not right. No, going away is different. Cannot be the same. I think couples going away together is different from being at home and in their environment. But plus if you have not tried, try. But when you are going away, be intentional to not bring the whole home.
Don't bring the home package there. It's true. Dion said, if a husband and wife never go away together, it can be a problem. Couples need shared time and experiences to stay connected. So there must be a balance between time together and time apart. Yeah.
I think that's the main thing.
That's
That's
it.
staying connected.
Yeah.
The finding
Shared
a way,
experiences.
Yeah, to have shared experiences and staying
It even
connected.
gives you things to talk about. Oh, you remember when we went to so place?
Yeah,
This,
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know,
It's nice,
when all the stories of when we went is with friends. Oh, I remember when I went with Jane to so place. And went with
that person reminds me of that person in that place that we went to.
Yeah.
Oh, which place? Which way? Oh, don't worry, you went there.
Yeah.
Every time. Oh, don't worry, you went up there. Oh, don't worry. Well, what can we talk about?
Yeah.
Then? Yeah.
All right. Fene said, even if you book a weekend for holiday, it may end up as a fight away from home because of pride.
Because of pride.
Yeah.
That's
well,
why,
if you carry pride,
yeah,
that's why you must kill the pride.
That pride
has
to, that pride has to go. It has to go. Listen, your life, your joy depends on it. Yeah.
Okay. Someone wrote, it said a friend once criticized a woman for taking her husband on a girl's trip. Oh, but you can't take your husband on a girl's trip.
Yeah, but what if it's just like
I don't know.
Okay.
Can you take your husband on a girl's trip?
Who would take their husband on a girl's trip?
Please, I would like comments on that. Okay. Yeah. So a friend once criticized a woman for taking her husband on a girl's trip, which offended her. But it turned out the friend was having marital issues and trying to interfere.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So it said, this shows that both parties need to be careful and mindful of intentions.
Yeah.
All right. So should you, if it's called a girl's trip, should you take your husband with you? Or if it's called a boy's trip, should you take your wife with you?
Well, some guys do take their wife for
really?
boys trip.
For boys trip, okay.
Some. And some girls, obviously, like we heard, do take it for
their husband.
Their husbands for.
Okay, so basically, what we do is
right?
So it's okay, but the man, okay, assuming it's a girl's trip, yeah, and you take your husband with you, the husband maybe during the day and activities, it would give the wife space to spend time with the. I'm just trying to understand how it will work. Spend time with the girls, and then obviously the two of them are booked together in the same room, and then later in the evening. So he would just have his own time, maybe chill, rest, and then they'll be together in the evening. And then during the daytime, when the girls are doing their activities, she's there. Because the man is not going to now come and be in
part of the girls.
Yeah, part of the girls. It's not now, is it?
Wear the robe as well.
Unless it's a couple's trip.
Yeah.
Then it's a different thing. But if it's a girl's trip, please, you guys help me understand. Is it okay to take your husband on a girl's trip or
Okay. Well, for some people, it will just be too intrusive, and for some, they just won't mind. I think it depends on the couples.
All right. So Victoria said it could be there. It could be there is no peace between them, even though they live in the same house.
Yeah. Some people literally live as flatmates.
Yeah.
So
Ifoma said, my husband won't mind. He can just stay and not interfere. Yeah. So it's possible then. Yeah. So as Charles said, so long as the couple enjoys each other's company, trust me, there's no fun traveling solo on a holiday. I speak from experience. Yeah.
It's boring.
No, it's true. Because I think
when you just be phoning the person, look what I saw.
Exactly.
Oh, look where I am.
Yeah.
Oh, look this.
I think traveling, when you go on holiday with your spouse, I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful thing. I don't know, but I think you probably enjoy it more.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So from what I'm learning a new thing today, really, that people can go on girls trip or go on boys trip and take the spouse with them, and the spouse honestly, because when you before this broadcast,
I'm just thinking like
if you tell me that if you were to say to me, I'm going on a girls trip,
do you want to come?
And say, do you want to come? I'll be looking at you.
It's a girls trip.
Yes.
I think your first reaction is it's a girls trip.
Exactly. I'll say it's a girls trip.
It's like the women's retreat. Yeah. So we have a women's retreat in church. They have a men's retreat in church. It's only the men that go. It's only the women that go to their respective retreats.
Yeah.
If I now come and gate crash if I now come to the men's retreat, I will feel like I'm gate crashing.
Yes.
I would literally feel so awkward.
Yeah. But maybe, from what people are saying then is if you because the activities are going to be mainly during the day, and as long as the man is not taken out of the activities,
taken into the activity.
No.
Okay, if it's okay.
If it's a man, if it's a boys' trip or a men's retreat, as long as the man is not taken out of the activities, then it's fine. And as long as the wife enjoys herself within the environment, but not interfering with the things happening. And then in the evening, he's with his wife, because there will be a time everybody will retire to their room. And it could be a rest time. Okay, put it this way. Let's say it's a boys' men's retreat, and the men are there, and they're having seminar and all of that, and somebody took their wife with them. So in that time, she's in the pool swimming, she's in the sauna relaxing. It's just a relaxation trip for her. Do you understand?
Okay.
And the husband is doing all the activities, and then in the evening, when everybody's closed, retired to the room, he's retired to his room. His wife is there, maybe together. They both watch movie together, spend the evening together. Oh, how was it, and all of that. And then so there is a possibility of it's from this conversation that
it could work for some.
It could work for some, but not for all.
For all, yeah.
So it's really down to people's preference. Yeah.
Okay.
Because otherwise, before this broadcast, if somebody told me you're going on guest trip, and the husband is going to be thinking, why's the husband going for it's guest trip? Let the girls go, let the ladies go. Or it's boys trip, let them go and come back. All right, but I think the objective really is couples need to be on the same page.
Yes.
When you're on the same page, there are great things to be achieved. And from experience as a pastor and meeting with people and talking with people, I find that couples who are on the same page, they end up achieving more. They end up, and I'm telling you, more in life, more in every area than couples that are not on the same page. So you must, whether you're a married person, maybe you've been married for years, or you're just newly married, or you're one who is just, looking forward to getting married. One of the things you must aim for is to ensure that you are both on the same page. On the same page in, I dare to say, in every issue. It doesn't mean that your opinions will not differ, but talk about them. That's where communication comes. Talk about them, communicate, discuss them, and arrive at, this is the direction we are going with this, and this is the direction we are going with that. When you begin to do that as a couple, the rate at which you achieve will increase. And this is true. The rate at which you achieve will increase. Some things that are prayer points for you, you'll find that they will just fizzle away. And some battles that you fight, whether they be external battles or internal battles, they will just fizzle away. So we must do everything to ensure that we are on the same page, so that we do not suffer the dangers of not being on the same page. Do you have any final comments before?
Well, I think you said quite a lot, but to add my little 2 cents is to say isolation is dangerous. Being separated when you were meant to not be separated is dangerous, is what the devil used. The very first trick he used against Eve, he waited until she was alone. So you don't know what is being suggested, pumped, put into the mind of your spouse that when they're alone, or even in your own mind when you're alone. You're now starting to look at things differently when it was never meant to be looked at differently, all because of working alone. So it's very important to be on the same page. It's very important to communicate. It's very important to, pursue things together. You don't have to agree 100% on something to move forward. You have to see the other person's point of view, analyze it, discuss it, come through it, and walk together to get to the new point of view that you both adhere to and adapt from each other's opinions. Life is for living. I don't want anyone to endure their home. Enduring your home is not a nice place to be. Try and enjoy it. Remember, you've got a 2-week activity. For those that can, do something spontaneous. Let it be joyful. Bring fun, bring joy, bring, pizzazz. I don't know, I'm thinking of a word, but bring something that would surprise and please and bring joy and a smile to the other person's face. You're a change maker. You can make that change. And I believe God that He'll help you to do that.
Amen. Amen. Well, before we close, I think there are some people who don't think that, you know, a man should be going on with a wife on a girl's trip, or a woman should be going with the husband on a boy's trip. I'd like to read their comments.
Yes.
Yeah. So Dion said, I found it awkward, or I found it awkward. I wasn't sure how to respond. Girl's trip is a girl's trip.
Yeah.
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 So that's a comment. And you know, she mentioned before that she had this situation of a friend.
Yeah.
That brought the husband on a girl's trip.
And then everyone's meddling or whatever.
Yeah. And okay. Then you have Lenny's said, I don't think a husband should go on a girl's trip because it will mean the lady would have to be splitting her focus to ensure husband is not alone. Most guest trip arrangements is to share rooms. Okay. That's another point.
Yeah.
So it depends.
So she's gonna miss out on, like, let's say, the conversations, the gist, the fun, all the little moments.
And maybe they're going on those trip and it's not everyone to their own room.
Yeah, exactly.
So everyone else may then be sharing room, and then she's
on your ones.
On ones. Yeah, she's got a point there. And then Aminon said it could be when there were issues of lack of trust. She's saying, if not, why should a man go to girl trip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to keep an eye on her. That thing that happened the last time or nearly happened. I want to be there to make sure it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's true.
Policing his woman.
So
bodyguard.
So I guess when it comes to that, then it's really, would we say then that it is down to what works for a couple? Or
but it's what works for a couple, yes.
Yeah.
But also respect the place that you're going to and the people you're going with.
Do you know
what I mean? If it's a girls' trip, like, then, surely they wanted to have the time, freedom and time and the relaxation. There's like some girls like me, I'm a closed off, I'm not going to show you my body kind of person. But there's some girls that can just walk around the place like in underwear and what have you and be free. But they can't do that with husband here on the side. So I think it's out of respect for the
people that you're going with, and then you've called it a girls trip.
If it was that we're just going on a business trip,
business trip, or it's a couples trip, because sometimes some people go couples trip where they arrange a few couples come together and say, you know, let's go away and spend some time together. Then it's the trip is defined in that way. All right, it makes sense. It's like your child going on a school trip.
And then you come. Here you come. You're not the chaperone. You're just there as a child.
Because that's what I was saying initially, that, you know, if not for the conversation here, you know, someone's told me, there's girls trip, and then say the husband is going, I'll be thinking, why? I would ask why. All right. Well, thank you all. It's been a great conversation. The objective really and the goal is we must aim to be on the same page. Crucial for us as couple, crucial for to be couples, because with that you achieve much. Thank you once again for being part of Talk with the Missus. Remember, we are going to be on the AZPPP prayer platform tomorrow morning. 6 a.m. is the time. God is doing amazing things there. We're just grateful. We're grateful for the strength that God is giving to us. Can you believe that, you know, this year we'll make it 5 years on the AZPPP by July 9th.
6 years, 2020.
Oh, 6 years. Oh my God. I'm even on it will be 6 years since July 9th, 2020. We've been on that AZPPP altar Monday through Friday.
Wow.
You know, that must be the grace of God to keep that going for 6 years. So we're back tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you for being part of this. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Follow us. The YouTube channels there are multiples of them. So there's the FMC TV YouTube channel. There's the Pastor Moses GCF YouTube channel. There's the Chioma Omoviye YouTube channel. So subscribe to all of them. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and like we said, Telegram. Is all Pastor Moses GCF. We love you. We appreciate you for being part of today's broadcast. Spread the news. And we'll see you in 2 weeks for another episode of Talk with the Missus. Until then, this is where we say.
Bye.